Alright, K4TFJ back for part 2. Excuse the audio sync and the video. It's kind of, you don't want to know what computer I'm using. I'm surprised it's even doing this. Alright, but I'll change that another day. So I'm just going to briefly put this together real quick. I'm not going to glue it as of yet. I'll glue it later. It's just PVC gluing. If you don't know how to do that, there's several Google videos out there to show you how to do it. But real quick, let's go ahead and just get started real quick. It's not hard. I didn't get it quite centered. I suck. But, I like my washers. Now this is actually just temporary. I'll pull it all back apart again and put some silicone on everything, and it'll be all nice and tight and waterproof. The key to these is to get them as waterproof as possible, so that you don't have to tear them down in the future. That's just the way it is. Don't bother putting weep holes in or anything like that. It's a waste of time. If once water's in, water's in. And in most cases it doesn't like to get out. It likes to just hang around the sides and create mist and moisture. It's just not worth the trouble. Lock it out first so that you never have to deal with it. And we will do that, but this is going to be taken up and down multiple times, and I'm actually going to be tearing this apart, and I might end up putting a 4-to-1 in it, so I don't want to seal it quite yet. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. Okay, you saw that. That's fairly simple. Mount the bracket in here, and again, this is just the male-to-male with a female to take care of this, lack of lockdown. And I'll get some better ones later. All right, so when you're doing this one, you want to put your binding post in first. You'll notice I'm washer heavy. I like my washers. All right, now this is where the tricky part comes in. The easiest thing I like to do is put the screw through the ring, and then I just reach down with a pair of tweezers, grab them. If I'm not holding on to the wire so that I can't grab it, and you bring it up to the hole, and then you drop it through. And once it's through, now the first one's really easy. You can just take a Phillips head flathead, it depends on your bolt, stick it through the other side, and just put it right on the screw. Again, flat washer, lock washer, nut. That's what I like to do. Your opinions may vary. And lock it down nice and tight. As you can see, that puts a nice little place on it. Now what we'll end up doing here is the washers. If you end up using a ring, you won't need the washers. If you end up using just wire with no terminator on the end of it, you're going to want to wash the washers to help grab the wire as you tighten it up. So that's that one right there. Got the black one on it. Now it's a dipole, so it doesn't really matter which one is black and which one's white. I'm sure some people may have a different opinion on that. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it at this time. I did at one point like to make marks on the exterior that indicated center conductor. I put a little C on it, but I'm not doing that right now because it really makes. Oop, that just fell. The bolt fell off. I'm trying to rush through this because I don't want to have a long ass video. put that there for a moment. Swing this around and grab it. Can't grab it if it's not in there all the way. Now I purposely do this to keep it, keep the wire on the inside as short as possible. And I'm just going to slide that together for a second. I don't like having a lot of wire on the inside. It may not really matter. Your situation may vary. As you can see if I can get this up in there. So you got the wires coming up to the back side of the screw. Now this one, if you use a smaller screwdriver, you can come in through the top hole on this side and kind of angle down to hold that screw in place while you put the rest of it together. You can only tighten from the outside at this point, but it works. And like I said, this is the way I was taught to do them. I understand I was licensed in 1978 at the age of 13, and this is how I was taught to do it. Right or wrong, it's just the way I've always been taught. Like I said, I used to use the standard SO238-9s with the square chassis mount, which is funny. We should talk about that real quick. I bought a bunch of these from eBay, and it appears to be an SO239, but it's not labeled, no brand. And what's funny is the minute you apply heat to them, I applied heat to the center conductor. Now look at this. And it started melting. The center conductor literally disappeared. The center post. So it's, yeah, you get what you pay for. So these are trash. I'm only keeping these just to talk about them from time to time because I was all upset about them. This is a single coat of green. I had a little problem with the dog. Kind of knocked it over while it was still a little on the wet side. But you know what? It's going up in the trees. Who cares? This was just so it would blend in with the trees a little bit better. All right, so let's pull this apart. Once again, I love my washers. A lot of people say, "Why do you put so many washers?" It's just because that's the way I like it. Put that upside down. Flat washer, lock washer, and a bolt. And if you put these more than 2 inches down, you're not going to get your fingers on them. Let's see. I'll finish putting this back together. We have. I'd like to hear your opinions on this too. I've had 3 different opinions. In this particular style that I'm using right now, because I put the terminating post and the support post so close together, I'm kind of forced to use one particular style over the other. And I'll show it to you here in just a second. Okay. You'll notice that I've got my eyelets turned sideways, or in the horizontal plane, and that's so that I got enough room to spin my wing nut because they're so close together. Other people tell me that they should be vertical with the hook going upwards. Others are saying, and then some say, everybody says never put them with the hook going down. If this hook starts to separate, the wire comes out really instantaneously if it has a hole at the bottom, whereas if the gap is at the top and it starts to separate, at least it'll hold onto the wire a little bit longer than normal. So I'm going sideways, which gives me room, but also if it starts to separate, I still have that same safety factor as if they're pointed up. So that's my terminating post, my support posts. All right, so we're about to finish this up for this video. Again, the end cap will go on here. These will get glued if you want to. I would, but that's not necessarily true. You can glue them, but you're gonna have a pain getting them apart ever again. You can push them together and use small, and you'll need to pre-drill these, but you can use really small wood type, metal type screws, drill into the side, and anchor these in from the cap into the main body. I will be doing that. I actually do both most times. Excuse the noise. So I'm going to finish this up for right now and get back to you once this is up in the air. This is going to be a 160 dipole, and I'll be making another one for a multi-band fan dipole.